morning, children. How are you all? Fine. Okay, very good. So, we were discussing the story A Shipwrecked Sailor by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So, in the last class, I had given a homework for you. Actually, the homework is to fill the space with A and the. I had given a passage which is incomplete, and you have to fill that empty spaces with A and the. This is the homework, right? I know that you all did that. Now I will show my answer. Okay, sit. I made dash last try. So I made a last try so that Rengifo could reach the oar, but the raised hand which a few minutes earlier had been trying to keep the headphones from sinking sank forever. So children, this is the answer. I made a last try so that Rengifo could reach the oar, but the raised hands which a few minutes earlier had been trying to keep the headphones from sinking sank forever. Actually, what is this A and the? They are the articles in English language. A and the. These are the three articles in the English language. So, what's the name of our story? Yes, A Shipwrecked Sailor. Then who is the author? Yes, that is Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So, A Shipwrecked Sailor by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Then who were the characters in the story? This Luis Alexandro Velasco. He is the narrator of our story. Who is the narrator? Yes, Luis Alexandro Velasco. Then Julio Amantel Caraballo. Then Eduardo Castillo. Then Luis Rengifo. Then Raymond Herrera. Or all these people, this Julio Amantel Caraballo, Eduardo Castillo, Luis Rengifo and Raymond Herrera were the shipmates of Velasco. Velasco is a 20-year-old sailor who was washed overboard during a storm in the midst of the Caribbean Sea. Or these people, they were all washed overboard during the storm. Then, in the beginning of the story, all of them were in the same predicament. What? Yes, all of them were struggling hard to stay afloat in that water. Then towards the last, or in the beginning, Velasco, he gave a detailed description of all these characters. But what happened to all his shipmates? Yes, they were all drowned in the sea. And now Velasco is alone in the sea. So these are the things that we discussed in the previous classes. Do you have any doubts? No. Okay. Now let's move on to the next section. So now our Velasco is alone in the sea. Then he become aware about the sun, and the sun is described as hot and metallic. Then he looked onto his watch. It is noon time. Okay. Then our Velasco is telling that it takes only 10 minutes for everything to happen. It takes only 10 minutes for everything to happen. That is to reach the life raft, then trying to rescue his shipmates, and now or for standing motionless in that life raft. Velasco is telling that it takes only 10 minutes for everything to happen. That is to reach the life raft, then trying to rescue his shipmates, then standing motionless in that life raft. And Velasco thought that it would take almost 2 or 3 hours for everything to happen. Velasco thought that it would take 2 or 3 hours for everything to happen, but it take only 10 minutes for this to happen. So Velasco is alone in the sea. So he tried to resign himself to it. Then he had no food or water. The sun burned his head and the skin became hardened because of the salt. And he had lost his cap, so he splashed some water on his face and just sat on the side of the life raft waiting to be rescued. So Velasco is alone in the sea, so he tried to resign himself to it. Then he had no food or water. Then he had lost his cap, So he splashed some water on his face. Then the sun burned his head and his skin became hardened because of the salt. And then he sat on the side of the life raft waiting to be rescued. Then Velasco, he felt a pain on his right knee, so he rolled up the trouser and he saw a deep half moon shaped wound just below the knee or on the lower part of the knee. And he didn't notice until he reached the life raft. He didn't notice that wound until he reached the life raft. But the wound is completely dry now because of the salt. So Velasco, he felt a pain on his right knee, so he rolled up his trouser and there he saw a deep half moon shaped wound just on the lower part of the knee. And he didn't notice until he reached that life raft. He didn't notice that wound until he reached the life raft. But the wound is completely dry now because of the salt. Velasco, he is uncertain about what to do. He was alone in the sea and he was uncertain about what to do. So he decided to make an inventory on his belongings. So he decided to check his belongings. First of all, there he had a watch. He glanced at that watch every 2 or 3 minutes. First of all, he had a watch and he glanced on that watch every 2 or 3 minutes. Then he had a gold ring, then a chain with a medal. Okay, so what were the belongings? Yes, he had a watch and he just look on that watch every 2 or 3 minutes. Then he had a gold ring, then a chain with medal. Then in his pocket there is nothing except a key of the locker and 3 business cards. So what were in his pocket? Yes, a key of the locker and 3 business cards. Since he had nothing to do, he just started reading that business card. He just started to read that business card. So Velasco, he had nothing to do and he is uncertain about what to do. So he decided to make an inventory on his belongings. So he just started to check his belongings. He had a watch, then yes, a golden ring, then a chain with medal. Then on his pocket there is a key of his locker and 3 business cards. Since he had nothing to do, he just started to read that business card. So with this our story ends. I hope that you understood. Okay. Now you just read the paragraph and mark the difficult words that you come across while reading. So read it. I hope that you all finished reading. Now I will share the meaning of some difficult words. First word is searing. 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 S-E-A-R-I-N-G. Searing. Searing means extremely hot or intense. Searing means extremely hot or intense. Next word is stalled. Stalled. S-T-A-R-L-E-D. Stalled. S-T-A-R-L-E-D. Stalled. Stalled means feeling or showing sudden shock or alarm. Stalled means feeling or showing sudden shock or alarm. Next word is gash. Gash. G-A-S-H. G-A-S-H. Gash. Gash. G-A-S-H. Gash. Gash means make a long or deep cutting. Gash means make a long or deep cut in. Now I will read the chapter for you. You just listen carefully. Okay. The last time Rengifo had asked me the time on the small ship
It was 11:30. I had checked the time again and the disaster had not occurred. When I looked at my watch on the life raft, it was exactly noon. It had taken only 10 minutes for everything to happen, for me to reach the life raft and try to rescue my shipmates and stand motionless in the raft, searching the empty sea, listening to the sharp howl of the wind. I thought it would take them at least 2 or 3 hours to rescue me. 2 or 3 hours, I calculated. It seemed an extraordinarily long time to be alone at sea. But I tried to resign myself to it. I had no food or water, and by 3 in the afternoon, I would surely have a searing thirst. The sun burned my head and my skin, which was dry and hardened by salt. Since I had lost my cap, I splashed water on my head and I just sat on the side of the raft waiting to be rescued. It was only then that I felt the pain in my right knee. The thick blue trill fabric of my trouser leg was wet, so I had a hard time rolling it up. But when I did, I was stalled. I saw a deep, half moon shaped wound on the lower part of my knee. I didn't know if I had gashed it on the side of the ship or if it had happened and when I hit the water, for I didn't notice it until I was seated in the life raft. Though the wound burned a little, it had stopped bleeding and was completely dry because of salt water, I imagine. Uncertain as to what to do, I decided to make an inventory of my belongings. I wanted to figure out what I could count on in my solitude at sea. First of all, I could rely on my watch, which kept perfect time and which I couldn't stop glancing at every 2 or 3 minutes. In addition, I had my gold ring, which I had bought in Cartagena the year before, and a chain with a medal of Virgin of Caraman on it, also purchased in Cartagena, from another sailor for 35 pesos. In my pocket, I had nothing but the keys to my locker on the small ship and 3 business cards I had been given at a store in Mobile one day in January when I had gone out shopping. Since I had nothing to do, I read the cards over and over to distract myself until I was rescued.
Okay, children, now let's discuss some of the textual questions. First question is, but I tried to resign myself to it. What did Velasco resign himself to? I will read one more. But I tried to resign myself to. What did Velasco resign himself to? This is the answer. The narrator resigned to the fact that he was alone at the sea and had no food and water. The narrator, who is the narrator, is Velasco. The Velasco resigned to the fact that he was alone at sea and had no food and water. Okay, children, the next question is, why did Velasco splash water over his head? Why did Velasco splash water over his head? The answer is, the narrator splashed water on his head as he had lost his cap and the sun was burning his head and skin. So why the narrator splashed water on his head? Because he had lost his cap and the sun was burning his head and the skin. Okay. Next question is, but when I did, I was stalled. Why was Velasco stalled? So the question is, why was Velasco stalled? Velasco was stalled because he saw a deep half-moon shaped wound on the lower part of his knee. Velasco was stalled because he saw a deep half-moon shaped wound on the lower part of his knee. Next question is, what were the items in the list of belongings of Velasco? What were the items in the list of belongings of Velasco? What are they? Yes, a gold ring, then a watch, then a chain with a medal, then keys to his locker and 3 business cards. A gold ring, then a watch, then a chain with a medal, then keys to his locker and 3 business cards. Okay children, now let's move on to the grammar part. Today we discuss about conjunctions. Actually, conjunctions are words which is used to connect two sentences or two clauses. Conjunctions are words which used to connect two different sentences or two different clauses. For example, I tried to hit the nail but hit my thumb instead. Here, but is the conjunction. I tried to hit the nail but hit my thumb instead. Then, I have a goldfish and a cat. So, conjunctions are words which are used to connect sentences or clauses. So, children, you all understood the chapter, right? Yes, very good. So, now it's time to do an activity. Please take page number 57. 57, there an activity. Activity 1. I will read it. The narrator was given a heroic welcome by the people of his locality. Imagine that he narrates his experiences in a public meeting. Write the speech the narrator might have delivered. So, the activity is to prepare a speech the narrator might have delivered in a public meeting in his locality. So, you should write a speech of the narrator. Do it. While writing the speech, don't forget to give a proper salutation, a proper addressing of the audiences like dear ladies and gentlemen. You can add according to your wish. Okay, do it. Okay children, I hope that you did it. Now I will show my version. Please listen carefully.
So, children, this is my version. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very happy to be in front of you. I never thought that I would be alive and be among with my dear ones. It was a fearful experience. I lost my friends in that. There was only hunger, thirst, and loneliness with me in the midst of the ocean. It was a nightmare for me. Tolerance, perseverance, and confidence can lead us to victory. I am thanking God who saved me and my loved ones who pray for my life. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Okay children, now I will give a homework. It's also an activity from your textbook. Please take page number 51. 51. Activity 1. Okay, it is to prepare the mind map of the story, A Shipwrecked Sailor. My homework is to prepare the mind map of the story, A Shipwrecked Sailor. So, while writing the mind map, you should add the main points in the text or the main incidents in the story. So, will you do that? Okay, very good. Then do it as a homework. So children, you all understood the story, right? Yes. Then you have to read the textbook. Then you should do the homework. And this is enough for today. Okay. I hope that you enjoyed the class. And thank you and have a nice day.